Welcome to the Sellernomics Podcast. In today's episode, we'll be featuring one of the many great tools and software available to Amazon sellers to help you grow your FBA business. A special thank you to our sponsor, Getita, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getita.com/Sellernomics. Now it's time to show us what you got with your hosts, Rob Stanley and Lisa Kinski.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Show Us What You Got. My name is Lisa Kinski and I'm joined by my co-host Rob Stanley, and we have a very exciting episode for you guys today. I know we say that every time, but I'm especially excited about this one because this is a tool that I know our sellers can benefit from. I get this question all the time looking for a solution like this. And so I'm very excited to share with you guys today. We have with us Shane Barker. He's the founder and CEO of Tracefuse, and we're going to be talking about how to remove negative reviews from Amazon with their software. So Shane, how are you?
Doing awesome. I'm doing awesome, guys. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. Doing wonderful. Thank you so much. So, let's just jump straight into it. We know Tracefuse is going to help sellers to remove negative reviews, but I want to see the software. So show us what you got.
There we go. Now's the time. Well, once again, thank you guys so much for having us today. We appreciate it. I will tell you guys, and this is funny. So as we talk about this, I'm sure a lot of sellers, the first thing you think is when it's removing negative reviews, we instantly think black hat, non-compliant. We got something fishy going on. Obviously, Getita wouldn't be behind anything like that. I wouldn't create anything like that. So we are 100% compliant with Amazon, no issues whatsoever. And I'm going to kind of go into our backstory and kind of why we created the software. And I'll go in and I'll be able to show you exactly what we got in regards to the dashboard and all the fun stuff. So one of the things that's really different, the way that we file cases different than anybody out there. I've talked to hundreds, if not thousands of sellers, is, a lot of times Amazon doesn't respond. So it becomes frustrating. And we're in the same situation. We were sellers a long time ago. And, we reach out to Amazon. Amazon has limited bandwidth, right? As I talked about before, it's like if there's 150 active or 1.5 million active sellers on Amazon. If everybody sends an email a day, that's 1.5 million emails. So that's a lot, right? At the end of the day. So what we do is we realize is that when we're filing cases and saying, hey, Amazon, we're being attacked, something funny is going on, this is against your terms of service, we weren't getting a response. So it became frustrating. In fact, I talked to a seller a few weeks ago that said, it's like having a pebble in your sandal. It sucks and it hurts, but it's just something you got to live with, assuming you can't take the pebble out of your sandal. So in this situation, and so it's just always been something we live with. And so now you don't have to live with it. Now you can actually go and I'll kind of explain to you how we created this and why we created this. So our biggest thing, one of the differentiators, we have like 3 pillars, right? So one of our things is data, methodology, and perseverance. Data being that we've collected over 100 million reviews with Amazon. That's going to be really a key component to this, because when we're filing cases, there's no emotion involved. There's no this, there's no that. It's like, hey, this is the data. This is what we're seeing. And this is the reason why these people are in violation, why these buyer accounts are fake, or why this is in violation of your terms of service. The cases that we file are extensive. Well, the idea of this is for Amazon to have enough information there to be able to go and remove these buyers' accounts or remove a review from your account. Our methodology, once again, we had access to hundreds of sellers' accounts, filing hundreds of cases, thousands of cases, and getting nowhere for the first 3 years, which really sucked, because I was looking at this thing going, maybe I should have just put my money into something different. And then after 3 years, we started to get some traction. And our methodology is very interesting in the sense that we file with Seller Central. Sometimes we do Vendor Central. Obviously, we can do Brand Registry. There's a lot of different departments that we file with. We know what types of reviews and what I say templates. When I say templates is it's not like the same template we've been using for 2 years or 3 years, the one that we got off online. We're constantly testing templates because Amazon's constantly changing their policies. And so because it's AI driven, we're feeding the AI our successes and our losses, and we're better understanding which templates are going to be better. So the introduction of AI, or the introduction when we started using AI about 2-3 years ago, was a game changer for us. And so that's been really interesting. Once again, the data and the methodology, us knowing where to file, and everything we file is done manually, which that means it's done by these things called humans. Don't worry, AI will eventually take over these humans one day. But for now, we use humans because that's kind of where we're at today. Sorry if you're hearing this, if this goes out any later than a few months, the humans might be gone. But I have a feeling we'll still be around. I'm pretty sure of that for the most part. Also, perseverance. Perseverance is a big thing for us. As you know, on Amazon, you got to stay on top of Amazon. So we filed that first case, got to file a second case, file a third case. If Amazon doesn't respond to our cases, we can take that exact same case, we reformat it, and we can file with a different department, brand registry, or whatever that may be. So we've gotten really good at getting Amazon to respond. Amazon loves us because, once again, we're fully compliant with Amazon. The idea of this is that we're really giving Amazon all of the data to say, hey, this is the reason why you need to take a look at this. We know they have a certain amount of time that they can make a decision, whether they're going to remove an account or do something. There's timelines there, right? It's not like they can just spend 12 hours on your account. What we want to do is we want them to be able to look at this within minutes, click around. We talk about probability, certainty. We talk about a lot of different things. Sometimes we use legal terminology. The goal is to get Amazon, to react to this. Once again, Amazon with limited bandwidth, we want to give them all the information so they can go and look at this and say, yep, we agree with you. We're going to remove this review or remove this buyer's account, or no, we don't agree with you, and this is why we don't agree with you. So what I'll show you here, so we've got kind of a little background and kind of what we've built. You guys can take a look at the website. We've got some fun testimonials and all that. Next, what we do is we ask for the merchant ID of the seller. And then what we do in that situation, you'll see this one right here. What we do is we actually grab everything, right? We grab the image, the ASIN, the brand, the category, the rankings, to kind of understand where you're currently at. Our big thing is critical reviews, right? That's what Amazon is, 1, 2, and 3 stars. So in this situation, this client has 9,200 critical reviews, and they have a good amount of 4 and 5 stars. We always recommend getting as many 4 and 5 stars as you can. I know it's very basic when you say that out loud, but some sellers don't have anything in place to do that. What we do is we kind of think about it as like a diet, right? So if we're knocking down your 1, 2s, and 3 stars, and you're beefing up your 4 and 5 stars, you're going to hit, more sales. You're going to hit your BSR. You're going to hit, higher sales or star ratings. There's all kinds of fun stuff that happens there. If you just do us, you can see some success. But if you're not doing 4 and 5 stars, or if you're just doing 4 and 5 stars and not doing us, the growth or whatever you're looking for is going to be a little slower. I always use the diet analogy, right? Like if you eat right and you work out, you're going to lose weight faster. If you just work out and you don't eat right, which is probably me, then you lose weight slower. If you eat right and you don't work out, then it's going to be a little bit slower, right? But the idea of this is we want to be able to get you traction as soon as possible, remove those reviews, and get you back up to the BSR and where you need to be in regards to sales. So the clients would go through here. They look at all these. Yep, these look like our products. What they would do is they would go through here and they would actually click the reviews that they wanted us to go after. So we have a minimum of 500 critical reviews is what we do. There's a number of reasons why we stick with 500 critical reviews. That can be on one ASIN or multiple ASINs. The reason why we do 500 is we're really looking to get traction for the clients. So what we do is 500. A lot of the times what we see is sellers have already reached out to Amazon. And the more you reach out to Amazon that you're just asking them to do things or just sending them emails, there's a thing called a credibility score that Amazon gives to you. And so what happens is if you've bothered Amazon a lot and they're not responding to you anymore, then you're really low down on the totem pole. So think about if somebody breaks up with you, they're your ex, and they keep contacting you and you ban them or something, kind of the same situation. Amazon's not banning you, but the idea of it is like you're kind of mute noise, right? So what we do is we have to file cases that are absolutely amazing, get Amazon used to saying yes to us, seeing that we're filing right cases now. It's not emotionally driven email. It's a data-driven email that's going to show that, hey, we have some results here. So what we do at 500 being that point, we, with a removal rate of right around 10%, by the time this goes live, which will be another probably a few weeks, we might be at 11 or 12%. That number is continuously changing, going higher. But let's say it's 10%. So in this situation, if we had, let's say, almost 1,200 critical reviews, we can expect for about 120 of those to be removed. Once again, depending on categories, some categories are more aggressive, supplements and pets and stuff like that can be as high as 15%. We also have situations where just recently we had a client that removed 177 one-star reviews for them. The removal rate on that obviously was 20, 30, 40% because we were able to tie in those buyers accounts. We look at buyers accounts that are doing things that are wrong. A good example of that, let's say you have 3 buyers accounts. Somebody starts this buyer's account, they hire a VA, the VA goes and buys your products. And what do? They copy and paste the comments and they put it in there, right? So what we look at is, okay, how do we go, hey, Amazon, what's the likelihood that these 3 buyers accounts are writing the exact same comments? Like that's probability. The probability of that statistically, that doesn't make sense. That just doesn't happen. If they wrote like bad review, maybe, right? Like that could, maybe somebody just wrote bad review and they wrote that twice. But if you have 3 people that wrote, this is the absolute worst product in the world with 3 exclamation marks, that just, nobody does that. And so that's when we talk about data. In that situation, we were able to get all those buyers accounts removed. Our client lost 177 one-star reviews. And guess what? They use those same accounts to give we assume who the person that owned the account, 5-star reviews. So they're buying their own products and giving themselves 5-star reviews. So we knocked that out. Our client called me up freaking out and said, hey, what's going on over there? I was in a demo. I gave him a call back. I was like, hey, what's the problem? He's like, our sales are through the roof right now. And I was like, well, let me talk to the team. Well, we removed 177 1-star reviews, and his competitors lost 5-star reviews. So guess what happened? They went flying through the BSR. Now, that doesn't always happen. We're not always removing 177 reviews in a day. That's a kind of an outlier, but we definitely are looking at filing escalation cases. If we can tie those in, we call it a RICO case, like they do with the RICO with the mob. They tie in like Giuseppe and Guido, and they grab them all from the different areas and they tie them into a criminal organization. We do that with buyers accounts. Now what we're doing is grabbing these buyers accounts and we look at anomalies in the data, whether that's the reviews or there's a number of things that we look at. There are points that we can go to Amazon and say, hey, what's the probability of this? What's the likelihood? And it's just numbers, right? Like we just say, hey, listen, here goes the data. This is what we've assessed. Let me know if you're seeing the same thing. And that's where the value comes in. These are things that other companies can't do. They don't have the time or the resources to be able to put that all together. And as I told you, this has been 5 years in the making. This is not an overnight thing that we just click one button and have one template. Like this has been a lot of time and a lot of hard effort. So great. Now we know we've got these reviews. Shane, I want you to grab all, let's say 1,200 of these reviews. And this is a simulation of how the software works, right? Like when people sign up with us, what we do is we actually run the software. We do everything. And what you'll get access to is the portal, which I'll show you that next. So this is a simulation. There's a lot more moving pieces of this, but we did this for demonstration purposes. So what you'll see is you have the title of the review here, the reviewer ID. We have the body of the review. We have the AI output, and then the certainty or the probability. So if I click this, what you'll see here, what you'll see is just about a 7-8 second video. What's going to happen here is it talks about the AI input or output, excuse me. So what we talk about, okay, great. So let's say we stop here. So we say, hey, in this particular review right here, this talks about packaging. Well, obviously that's an FBA problem, right? And that in theory shouldn't be, that's not the seller's fault. You sent the product to Amazon, Amazon shipped it out. There was a problem with packaging. Great. There's a 99% chance that we can remove that review. The certainty is constantly changing here with our AI. So if we, FBA related obviously is always going to be a higher percentage because that's not your fault, right? So we're looking at these types of anomalies in the data. This gives us a first look at the data, right? So you say, hey, we want to move forward, Shane. We run the reviews through. Then what our team does, these things called humans that we have, they actually go through and they're actually going to start filing cases because they're going to look at the certainty. We start with the reviews that have the highest certainty, right? Because we want Amazon to get used to saying yes, right? We want to look at it and say, that's a no-brainer. That's an FBA issue. That's clearly not your issue. We can remove that one, right? And then maybe we move to one like this that is a 94%, right? Or something like that. You'll see this other one says about pricing. There's a 99.8% chance because talking about pricing in a review is absolutely against Amazon's terms of service. So everything that we do has to be in violation of Amazon's terms of service or the buyer's account that we can tie in together and show that they're sock puppet accounts. So if you want us to, we can't do anything with ratings, right? So people will come to us and go, hey, I got 14,000 reviews. And I'll look and I say, well, you actually have 1,000 reviews and 13,000 ratings. A rating, there's nothing to violate there, right? You give it a 1 star, there's nothing I can violate on Amazon because once again, I have to go, Amazon, this is the rules, this is what they're doing, and this is why it's wrong, right? So ratings we can't do anything with because once again, not in violation. But great. So we got your ASIN. We've got the reviews. We run it through the software. Now what we got this little thing. Let me get you guys in here. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me grab this real quick. I thought I already had that up. This is the meat and potatoes of this thing. Hold on 1 second. I do this for suspense. I didn't have that in there. Usually I would have it in there. I'm not having it in there because I want everybody to go, Shane, please show me the dashboard. I'll do anything to see the dashboard. So this is all a ploy and it's working because you guys are all staring and going, okay, is he going to show us the dashboard?
So Shane, while you're doing that, a quick question for you. Back on that last screen, we were talking about having a minimum 500 of something. So explain that just a smidge more while you're kind of logging in. What was the minimum you needed to have? And it looked like as you selected each of those ASINs, it started adding up that number to get to that 500. So maybe just explain that to everybody.
Yeah. So it needs to be 500 critical reviews. So what that means is that could be on one ASIN or multiple ASINs. So that can be, we always try to encourage people to do it on multiple ASINs, right? Because once again, everything is different. And what I mean by that, let me get this in. What I mean by that is that when I say everything is different, is there's different categories. It's like I grew up in the SEO industry, right? So the thing is, like with SEO is interesting because, just because you go after one keyword, and if you don't index for one keyword, that doesn't mean you can't index for the other keywords. So it's the same thing with this, right? When we look at this and we're evaluating this, the goal would be is to go after 5, 6, 7 ASINs that equal 500 or more. Then if we start to see some traction on some of them, we might not see traction on all of them because we don't know if you're at a 4.2, what it's going to take to get to a 4.3, right? There is, and maybe if you were just there, maybe it's going to be a lot easier to get there. Maybe that takes 5 reviews or 10 one-star reviews. We don't know. But what we're looking at is we want to be able to get some traction. So when we go after the 1, 2s, and 3 stars, the goal of that is once again, is to start knocking down these reviews, melting those down so you start going up in sales. 500 is that critical point where we assume that we're going to be removing about 50 reviews, and you should see some traction there, right? So that's kind of the goal. The good thing is once we start with 500, they can add as many ASINs as they want. It doesn't need to be another 500, and I'll kind of go into that right now. So awesome. This was the dashboard. Now that the suspense is over and we're like, okay, he really does have a dashboard, I swear. This is what we're going to take a look at here. So what this is this is the actual dashboard, and you can see this. You can see my LastPass really, really wants to be involved in the presentation. So that's okay. So we got products here. We got active ASINs. This is brands. And then there's something really secret over here that you won't be able to see. What we've got here, what you can do here is actually export the data, right? So you'll see this, we've got this. So what this is going to be is just an overview of what we've got. These are all of our active ASINs. These are all of our parent ASINs. If you click on inactive, hold on one second, this thing, hold on. I know what it's doing. It's trying to remember my password. Hey, huh? Not today, LastPass. Shane versus LastPass. Shane won, LastPass 0. Okay, back to the demo. All right, so what we got here, great. This shows how many reviews were removed. This shows where you can export data. These are all your active ASINs, all your parent ASINs. Your inactive, a lot of people 2 weeks, 3 weeks before Prime Day came in here, and what they'll do is they want to activate an ASIN, which means you're telling my team, hey, I want you to start filing cases. We click, yep, I want you to go after that ASIN. One more verification, click OK. Now what happens is now the team's been notified to start filing cases on that actual ASIN. So awesome. Once again, you got all this here. You can go over here. It says removed reviews. So this is where things get fun. So you can see right here, this is all going to be on a weekly basis. So we update this dashboard every single day, but usually people only look at it on Fridays because Friday is when we do our invoicing. As I said, we're all performance driven. So there's no upfront fees, no retainer, no nothing. We file cases, remove reviews, we get paid. If we file cases and they don't get removed, then my kids don't eat and nobody gets paid and we don't get paid. I'm just kidding. We remove reviews. That's really what we do. So you can see this here. This is on a weekly basis. You can scroll down. It says how many reviews were removed in total. We just have Tracefuse as the brand. This is a demo account. But I can click on this right here. So let's say, hey, I want to know on 9/12/2022, how many reviews were removed, right? So we can click on that, or you can drill down here. So let's just drill down on this one, right? Okay, great. These are all the reviews that we removed. It looks like we removed 23 in total. This is how many, 3 stars. This is how many 1 stars. This is how many 2 stars. We can drill down on ASINs. I want to know on this particular ASIN. Great. Last week, or looks like it was a little while ago, for this particular one, for this particular date, we removed 1 ASIN, or 1 review, and that was a 3-star. You can export this data. You can click out at any time. Once again, you can drill down on a weekly basis or, individual, whatever it be, 1, 2s, or 3 stars as well. And all this is exportable as well. Next, we have the rating tracking. So this is going to be really interesting where we have particular ASINs. We have the weighted average, right? And then we have the actual star rating. So you can kind of see which direction you're heading in. You can see your 1, 2s, and 3s, and 4 and 5 stars. You can see where you're currently at today. And then when we start working together, you'll get this. And so let's say we started on September 11th. You're at 4.4. This is your weighted average. It's a 4.4188. This is how many 1 stars, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4, 5, 6, or not 6, 4, and 5s, and then total. What's going to happen, you'll see, is the minute we start, peeling off these 1, 2s, and 3 stars, as we recommend getting you more than 4 and 5 stars, you'll start to see a transition. You'll see that weighted average going from a 4.3 to a 4.4, 4.5. The goal of this is, the big question we always get is like, hey, Shane, how many reviews do I need to remove, 1, 2s, or 3s, to be able to get from my 4.2 to 4.3? That's the question of the day. I will be honest, we've created 50 different calculators that were point on, exactly on, great for about an hour, and then Amazon changes things. So, that's a constantly moving target depending on category, volume, sellers. There's so many things that go into that for a weighted situation. But we do this once again, so at least you know you're heading in the right direction, right? Because, hey, I removed 10 1-stars, 3 2-stars, 8 3-stars. Great. We're looking at here. We know we're heading in that right direction. Now, can I tell you, hey, what is it going to take to get from a 4.4 to a 4.5? I don't know if that's 2 reviews or 10 reviews or 20 reviews. But we do know that if you've been there historically and you just lost that, there's a higher likelihood you're going to be able to get it back sooner. We've had people go from a 3.8 to a 4.3 if we're moving a lot of reviews. Lots of different situations there. We look at this. I'll give you an assessment when we do the demos, or my team will. Hey, this is what we think. All of it is a hypothesis, other than the sense that we've done this for a long time. I've had clients that we've done this for, and I was like, they're like, hey, we're at a 3.8. We want to get to a 4.5. What is it going to take? And I'm looking at, 1,000 5-stars and 1,000 1-stars, probably a few hundred, right? I mean, just looking at this, the evaluation, and sometimes in those situations, I'll even tell clients, hey, I recommend, it's probably going to cost you a lot of money. If this is your main hero ace and this is how you feed your family, then you should do that. If this is something that you're thinking about maybe doing a variation or doing something different, then I would probably recommend doing that, because you're going to probably spend a lot of money with us. I'm not saying I'm opposed to that. I'm okay with that. The problem is I want you to get traction, and I want you to have a realistic expectation there. Very, very important. If I have people that are looking for miracles, they're saying, hey, if you remove 5 reviews, can I go up from a 3.8 to a 4.5? Probably no. That's probably not going to happen. We got to be realistic about that. And I tell my team that this isn't just to collect money from people. I want to help people. And we talk about them in the beginning. What is your expectation? What do you expect from this, right? Are you expecting miracles? Are you expecting all these crazy things? Or are your expectations a little more realistic, with this being the background where you can see how things are going each week? We also do weekly invoicing, as you guys can see up here. As we talk about the reviews on the removal review pages. We do invoicing every Friday. We do it once a week. We do that for cash flow purposes for the sellers, right? The idea of this is when you start removing reviews, we don't want to wait till the end of the month and you have tons of reviews removed and they're not paying attention. We do this on a weekly basis. Once again, all performance driven. They can see that. They can see how many reviews removed. And it's like a bell curve. In the beginning, we're removing less, and then we start removing more and more and more. And then there's a certain point, it kind of goes down, and it's just kind of like a maintenance type situation, right? Where we're just, any new reviews that come in, we're collecting those and we're filing cases as needed. So it's like a protection for you. So if you ever get attacked, we're going to be on top of it. I have clients that will email me, hey, this review looks weird. I'm like, we already filed on that 3 days ago. Like, we're already on top of this. Like, you will be protected at that point. So once again, bell curve type situation. So that's pretty much how everything works. You can, if you have multiple brands, merchant IDs, you can toggle in between that. You can see this here. This goes to Tracefuse to Celatech, but that's all great. When anybody signs up with us, they first start off when they log into their account. You're going to see there's on the bottom left. There's actually going to be a Start Tour button, so you can kind of see that right. Oh, let's see here. That was the toggling of the thing that you. I don't know why you guys can't see it on the demo, but anyways, it toggles. I swear it toggles. And this is going to be the start tour that you can do when you first sign up. When we give you the logins, it'll take you through the software and kind of show you everything we got going on. And then if you have any issues with anything, and you're saying, hey, Shane, I want to remove this ASIN or something like that, they can go and put first name, last name, email ID, or email merchant ID, subject line, description, and say, hey, we want to remove this ASIN. My team will remove the ASIN. Once again, usually within a few hours. And then the only thing that we ask is if somebody was to cancel or pause, we have to wait about a week or two for all the cases that we filed to come through. Because once again, this is all being done through Amazon, filed through Amazon. Once that's all done, then you have a final invoice. And I've only had one client that's paused, and that was because there were some things with the owners and stuff. People love the service. Once again, no competition. So we're in a very unique place right now. But also understand that we really, really, I didn't even tell you guys the price point. So we're at $250 for every review that gets removed. So once again, if we file 100 cases and we get 10 removed, then we only get paid for 10. The other 90 we don't get paid for. So it is a performance thing for us. And our thing is to continue to hit that higher tier to be able to get more reviews removed for our clients.
What would be the reason that a seller would list an ASIN as inactive? You showed in there under the tracking that it can be one that's actively being filed for and one that's inactive. Is that just like if it's already got a high rating and they're less worried, or is it a matter of cash flow?
No, it could be cash flow. Sometimes people want to start with their, they want to start with their ASINs that were at a 4.2 or 4.3 and they just went down to 4.2. So they're like, hey, we feel like this is the ones that need the most attention. lot of our clients just want to clean up the whole profile, especially if you want to sell or something like that. You want to clean it up, make it look good, get your numbers back up where they need to be, increase sales. So most of the time, some people will come in and just say, hey, let's start with, especially in the beginning, we started doing this because people were a little nervous about what we were doing. Is this ethical? Is this against Amazon's terms of service? And they would give us just a few ASINs to work with, right? Like, hey, let's kind of test it with this. And then what happens, they just end up opening their whole portfolio and saying, okay, we know that this works. We've seen the successes of it. Let's go ahead and open that up. So this would be active is what they have active, and inactive are other ones that we know are their ASINs that they can activate once again, as quickly as they want to activate it for Prime Day or Christmas or whatever, or just to clean up the profiles.
Awesome. Yeah. And Shane, quick question. What about marketplaces? Is this only for the US marketplace, Amazon marketplace, or does it also work for others?
Yeah, great question. So it is for the U.S. marketplace for now. Filing in other countries and Europe and all that, sometimes the process, actually not sometimes, the process is different. We are working on UK and Germany and there's a lot of different countries we're working on, but the U.S. marketplace is so huge, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. So vast and so many sellers on there. We're focusing on that right now, but eventually we will have other marketplaces, but now it's just the U.S.
Oh yeah, there's enough of an addressable market between the U.S. sellers. It's
potentially
on the U.S. market.
Give or take a few. Yeah, there's a few clients we could pick up.
Amazing. Awesome. Rob, do you have any other questions? I think it's a really good. I definitely am excited about the tool and to share it with the audience. And I know that Shane, you have a special offer for our listeners. So I think let's go ahead and jump into that.
I do. Once again, I thank you guys, Rob and Lisa, for having me on. I really, really appreciate the chance to be able to demo the software. It's once again, it's a dream come true to be on. I've been watching you guys for a long time. You guys do an amazing job over there at Getita. We want to be like you when we get older one day, soon enough. So we have an offer. We have a $500 off. This is exclusive for all the podcast listeners here on Sellernomics. What that's going to be is that when you click on that link, which is going to be tracefuse.ai/Sellernomics, what will happen is you'll see that you're going to get $500 your first invoice. So we do invoicing on a weekly basis. That first week, you automatically get $500 off. So once again, you can try the service, all performance driven. If we don't remove reviews, which has never happened in the first week, but I'm just letting you know if that does happen, then once again, we're going to be filing those cases and getting those reviews removed for you, and you get $500 off. So can't go wrong with that.
Amazing. And folks, if you guys have any questions for Shane, or if you just want to learn more or get started, you can visit tracefuse.ai or reach out to Shane at tracefuse.ai. Shane, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to let folks know too that we have a Sellernomics episode coming out with Shane as well, and a Prime Talk interview. So if you haven't already, subscribe to our sister show, Prime Talk. Subscribe and turn on those notifications for Sellernomics. We've got a lot more great content coming from you from Shane and a lot of other wonderful experts. But Shane, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, be sure to share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the show, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Getita. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getita.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.